sent a text message to my best friend Jamie and the president of my company, Tara. And I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had an intense year, a lot of material success, and a lot of emotional stress. It's very hard on me and my family.
Justin Baldoni's past year has been nothing less than a relentless storm. A newly released podcast episode now offers a glimpse into just how much he was struggling, long before the public even had a clue. Recorded last November, but only now made public, the interview was intended as an open conversation about personal hardships. Yet, in retrospect, it serves as an eerie prelude to the legal turmoil that would soon unfold.
And I sent a text message to my best friend Jamie and the president of my company, Tara. And I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had an intense year, a lot of material success, and a lot of emotional stress. It's very hard on me and my family. And I wear a lot of hats, and I carry a lot, because I love what I do. I love the company I built, the brand that we've built. I love the people that work for us. I love the movies that we make. I love the impact that we have. And yet, sometimes it's easy to, as you said earlier, fall back into our program.
Justin opens up about battling intense stress, anxiety, and exhaustion, admitting he had taken on more than he could handle, both professionally and personally. At the time, the public was still unaware of the full extent of the tensions surrounding It Ends With Us, but in hindsight, his words make it unmistakably clear that something was already seriously wrong. This is Veli, welcome back to my channel. Justin recalls waking up at 4:00 a.m. on the day of the interview, completely drained and weighed down by everything that had unfolded that year.
And I sent this text this morning and I just said, I love you both. I just need you to know I'm not in the best place. I woke up at 4:30 this morning. My son's had the flu. I'm not feeling great. My heart was racing. I'm noticing that, I'm having some anxiety. And when I check in with myself, I realize that I just haven't given myself the time to heal from this year that I needed. So let's prioritize our time, and let's make sure that the things that we say yes to are things that we really feel will move the needle forward. And
sent messages to his closest friends and the president of his company, admitting he wasn't okay. The relentless demands of filmmaking, the pressure of maintaining his brand, and the turmoil behind the scenes left him with little time to recover. He describes feeling stretched thin, pulled in too many directions, struggling to juggle personal and professional responsibilities, only to realize he had given too much of himself without a moment to heal. And this was all before the lawsuits, before the public even grasped the full extent of what was happening behind the scenes. Just a month after the podcast was recorded, everything unraveled. In December, Blake Lively officially filed a lawsuit against Justin, triggering a legal battle no one had anticipated. Shortly after, the New York Times published a shocking expose on the complaint, prompting Justin to sue them for defamation. That same month, his former publicist, Stephanie Jones, filed her own lawsuit against him. By January, Justin had taken further legal action, suing Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, Leslie Sloan. The latest twist came when PR executive Jed Wallace filed a lawsuit against Blake, adding to the growing chaos. What was meant to be a defining moment in Justin's career quickly spiraled into a high-profile legal showdown, pulling multiple Hollywood figures into the fray. At the center of it all, It Ends With Us, a film that was already under scrutiny long before its release.
When I would show up on a set, I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say, but I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just be an actor. I want to have more authorship.
Fans had raised concerns about the casting choices and the overall direction of the adaptation. However, what they didn't realize was the extent of the creative tension unfolding behind the scenes.
So I think that it's about knowing what I want and what I need and representing that from the outset. And if people are into that and want to collaborate with me for all I feel like I need to offer and bring to a job, then those are the people I should collaborate with. And if I see that it's people who are, whether this is in business or acting or whatever it is, where it's people who I can see that feels like that's stepping on their territory, that's not going to ultimately be a fulfilling relationship for either one of us. So I think it's about being upfront about knowing what you actually need versus just trying to get the job and then once you're in it sort of revealing the scope of your sort of needs to be fulfilled.
According to Justin's complaint, Blake had allegedly taken on far more control than expected. Hired as the lead actress, she reportedly overstepped her role, asserting influence in ways that caught Justin off guard. What began as a creative partnership soon became a struggle for control, and by the time the press tour began, it was evident that the two were no longer aligned. Justin was left promoting the film alone while Blake distanced herself, fueling speculation about what had gone wrong. Meanwhile, Blake was already facing criticism over her approach to marketing the film. Many believed she downplayed its serious themes, encouraging audiences to view it as light entertainment rather than acknowledging its deeper message. The online reaction was swift and critical. Combined with the visible rift between her and Justin, it only intensified the controversy. However, with the release of the lawsuits, it became clear this wasn't just about questionable marketing, it was about power, influence, and creative control. Further adding to the debate is a resurfaced Forbes interview where Blake discussed her desire to take on greater creative involvement in her projects. She shared how, for years, she struggled with simply being an actress, feeling the need to contribute more to the storytelling process. At the time, this was viewed as empowering, an actress asserting herself in a male-dominated industry. But now, in light of the It Ends With Us drama, some are re-examining her words. Did she knowingly take on a role beyond what she was hired for? Did her ambition blur into overreach? Another question being raised is why Blake hasn't followed the path of other actresses seeking creative control. Why hasn't she launched her own production company? Many compare her situation to Margot Robbie, who successfully produced Barbie, or Sydney Sweeney, who executive produced Anyone But You through her own company. Given Blake's industry experience and connections, it's surprising she hasn't pursued independent projects instead of stepping into Justin's. Some speculate she was reluctant to take on financial risk, while others wonder if she saw It Ends With Us as an opportunity to exert influence without full responsibility. Regardless of how it started, this situation has escalated far beyond a simple on-set dispute. What began as creative differences has now spiraled into a web of lawsuits, fractured relationships, and a film permanently tied to controversy. As the legal battle continues, its impact is becoming clearer, extending far beyond just Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. What once seemed like a behind-the-scenes power struggle has turned into a full-blown PR disaster, with both parties facing intense scrutiny. Justin, who initially framed his involvement in It Ends With Us as a passion project, now finds himself defending not only his role in the film's production, but also his professional and personal integrity. On the other hand, Blake, once regarded as Hollywood's golden girl, is now at the center of discussions about industry, politics, boundary pushing, and the consequences of wielding influence in unexpected spaces. One of the clearest signs of just how deep this conflict runs is the involvement of Ryan Reynolds. Until now, he had remained largely silent, but his name appearing in legal documents alongside Blake's and their publicist Leslie Sloan has raised eyebrows. Though he hasn't spoken publicly, many are questioning his role in the situation. Was he merely supporting his wife, or was he actively involved in the decisions that led to this dispute? Given his well-documented business acumen, from Aviation Gin to Wrexham AFC, many believe that had he played a more prominent role earlier, the situation might not have spiraled so drastically. The fact that Justin included him in his lawsuit suggests he views Ryan as more than just an uninvolved spouse, rather as someone who had a hand in the behind-the-scenes maneuvering that disrupted the film's production. Adding to the intrigue is the growing number of lawsuits now surfacing from unexpected sources. While it was already surprising to see this conflict extend beyond Justin and Blake, the defamation lawsuit from his former publicist Stephanie Jones and the multi-million-dollar federal case filed by Jed Wallace have made one thing clear. This is no longer just about two conflicting creative visions. These lawsuits point to deeper tensions and fractured professional relationships that existed long before It Ends With Us became a Hollywood spectacle. Jones, who worked closely with Justin for years, alleges that his actions damaged her reputation. Meanwhile, Wallace claims that Blake's legal complaint unfairly implicated him in the scandal, prompting him to take legal action of his own. A common thread in all these cases is that individuals once closely aligned with Justin and Blake are now creating distance, or in some instances, directly opposing them. The question is, why now? Was this conflict inevitable, or did something happen in the months leading up to the film's release that caused everything to unravel so publicly? Another factor driving speculation is how the media is covering this situation. The New York Times article that first brought Blake's complaint against Justin into the spotlight marked a turning point in public perception. Justin's decision to sue the publication for defamation signals that he believes they not only misrepresented the story, but also actively harmed his reputation. Defamation lawsuits against major media outlets are notoriously difficult to win, which suggests that Justin is either highly confident in his case or taking a calculated risk in an attempt to shift public perception. Intro 7. Meanwhile, Blake's team has remained largely silent since the initial lawsuit, choosing not to directly address the growing criticism. This lack of response has only fueled speculation. Some believe she and Ryan are waiting for the legal storm to settle before making a public statement, while others think their team underestimated the level of scrutiny this case would attract and are now working behind the scenes to regain control of the narrative. A particularly intriguing aspect of this controversy is the industry's reaction. Hollywood is no stranger to legal disputes, but the number of high-profile figures entangled in this situation has made it impossible to ignore. Many insiders have quietly distanced themselves, with some actors, directors, and producers subtly signaling where their loyalties lie through public interactions and support. Some professionals have privately expressed concern that this dispute is damaging It Ends With Us before it even has a chance to succeed or fail on its own. Others see it as a cautionary tale about the risks of blurred roles on set. When actors assume responsibilities typically held by directors or producers without a clear framework, conflicts can quickly escalate. Fans have also played a significant role in shaping the discussion. Since the legal filings, social media has become a battleground for opposing views, with supporters on both sides fiercely debating the details. Some argue that Justin's claims are a last-ditch effort to restore his reputation after losing creative control of his project, while others believe Blake's alleged overreach disregarded established professional boundaries. The resurfaced Forbes interview has only intensified the debate. While some defend Blake's ambition as a woman in Hollywood taking charge of her career, others see it as confirmation that she knowingly assumed a role she wasn't hired for. The division is stark, and public perception will likely continue to shift as more details emerge. With so many moving parts and ongoing legal battles, one thing is clear: this is not just a personal feud, but a broader conversation about power, influence, and the inner workings of Hollywood. At its core, this dispute highlights the risks of mixing personal ambition with professional collaboration, especially when millions of dollars and major reputations are at stake. Whether Justin's lawsuit against the New York Times holds up in court, whether Blake and Ryan choose to break their silence, and whether it ends with us can overcome this controversy remain open questions. But one thing is certain: this situation has fundamentally reshaped the careers and public images of everyone involved, and the fallout is far from over.